2025. Roll call.
Greg Dennis here.
That story. Marshall Todd here.
Julie Osmond.
John Patterson, we have a quorum. Public comment on matters not listed on the agenda. Go. Can you state the name, please, ma'am?
My name is Julie Donatelli. And to the board and my neighbors, first I'd like to thank Sean for yesterday's work on North Fox Ranch. It's too bad that the work seems to only be getting done the day before meetings. I'd like to call on the board to find a different operations manager who understands that his or her salary is made of all of the working people I'm talking about. We work hard and pay for our roads to be maintained so we can get to work. It is unfortunate that our present operations manager is reactive instead of being proactive, which is causing major costs for road repairs and big projects that would most likely not have occurred if the roads were actually maintained. Many of our roads have no crowns left, huge potholes, and washboards. We are supporting a contractor that either doesn't have the ability to maintain the roads or who chooses not to. He could have chosen to do work in the winter about clearing the brush out of our ditches so that maybe a fire doesn't have to cross the road next year. Because of the lack of maintenance, our cars are getting beat up. My motor mount is completely destroyed. Not to mention, a lot of us out here tow our livestock. My axle was actually bent in my trailer. Lord, if you allow Sean to have no accountability for the hours in the grader, then these terrible roads could lend itself to be more lead to a horrible accident, which will eventually land in your hands. Please do something to make this better, and so that we don't have to pay for big projects, which roads could have been maintained in the first place. Thank you.
Did we get your name?
My name is Julie Donatelli.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
All right.
Thank you so
I'd like
much.
this added to
Anybody
the-
else?
Okay, thank you.
No? Okay. Moving on, the approval of minutes for February 20th, 2025.
Move to approve. Second.
We got a motion and a second, public comment. Any public comment? Okay. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Review of bills and other financial matters, review of transactions report.
All right, so we had on the transaction report, we had mentioned it last month, they hit for March because they cleared the bank. The invoice and payments for Sierra Rental in Western Nevada were the two large transactions for the month. So everything else was just the typical monthly invoices. The credit card payment, there was just a credit that the bank took that was posted in March, so the payment was a little different. So it just clears out for March. So on the bills to pay, same thing. They are all the normal monthly transactions, nothing out of the ordinary. And then for the estimated net operating report, we have on the capital outlay section, the modification to reduce the fund by the 55,000 was added to the aggregate surfacing project for the Bacon Rind and Quaking Aspen, those projects to be had. So overall, though, no net change to the fund. And then we have the 600,183 left in the budget, estimated left in the budget for the remaining part of the year. That's it. Yep.
Any public comment on any of that? Discussion? Great.
Oh, just one quick, Reno salary. What are we doing with that? $1,400 on that.
That was fuel for the
Okay,
cattle.
that's what I thought. Okay, all right, thanks. Are they still in business? Okay. I guess they are.
So just need a motion to
Move to approve the
pay
payments.
bills.
No
Okay.
second.
For
Okay, we got a motion to pay the bills in a second.
March.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Which one we got fixed?
For rebuilding
Oh,
for
we're
the ones
building
that are
it.
gonna be in Grass Valley, east
Okay,
and west.
got it.
Okay, we're at the approval of the tentative budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Angie handed out a new one, with a little bit of changes on.
There's a slight change. Right now, we got the final numbers from the state for the CTX tax, the consolidated tax. So it changed by about $4,500, so nothing really to write home about. And then we should receive the final number for the ad valorem. So that number stayed at the 400 for now, but for the final budget, when we go over it in April, that number will be updated. And the $4,500 was added to the road maintenance line at the bottom.
Actually, we won't go over it until May because they have to approve it today. It has to be sent in.
Oh, right. The May meeting. I'm sorry.
The
The
May
May
meeting.
meeting when we do the final. April's when we have to submit the tentative budget by.
Before the next April meeting.
Okay. So Robin, what do we have to do tonight? Are we making a motion on this? to
Yes.
approve the tentative budget?
We have to
Mhm.
approve it. It has to be sent in by the 15th to the
Okay.
state.
Need to
See, right,
start-
we've got a budget of 3.49 million, huh? Bottom corner. Calhoun budget, GID budget, worksheet fiscal year 25-26.
Jerry, 135.
Yeah, I'm not sure where 3 million. We're
Maybe I
gonna.
got the wrong piece of
I
paper.
think you got the
3
wrong piece of
million
paper.
would be good. 3 million would be really nice.
That'd be great. We're estimating about 1.8 coming from this.
Did I say it wrong? Oh dear.
Yeah, so we're estimating about 1.138 coming in from the state as of today, and then we have our expenditures out.
That's
Will be about
substantially more than
1.3.
I've seen before, so I caught my eye and I'm trying to figure out where we're getting all this extra money.
Yeah,
Or
so
just
yeah,
these
so
days,
so last year our final budget was 1.082, so it's slightly higher right now. Like I said, the ad valorem, what we have calculated based on the calculations they gave us
okay.
for the performa, we're estimating about 400. That will probably change a little, and so we'll have that that reflected for the final budget.
Have you
to
guys
approve.
looked at any of the things that would, that might take the economy and trash it a little bit, or to be conservative, or you looked at that kind of stuff too?
Mhm.
Because we
Angie.
don't want to just be optimists and think that everything's gonna be rosy, so gotta
Right.
be careful with that.
Insurance.
Right. So I've done some of the changes on the bottom on our actual expenditures out.
Okay.
For the income coming in, we have to say what the state gives us for the numbers.
Okay,
So we
have to
can't-
stay with that.
We have to stay with
Oh, I
those
didn't
numbers
know
for
that.
our
Okay,
budget.
we don't get to change things. because of
Right.
whatever. Okay.
So we can, when we get to next August, when we start over again on the net operating, this report on the estimated funds, we can change this and go a little bit more conservative on our end if so desired to show us,
No,
and
we
make
can
the
retain
reflection
funds
here.
or whatever we want if we want to do
'Cause
that.
this
It's
is
still in the
us.
budget.
But the
Okay.
budget, we have to leave the same.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were short off like
Yeah, I was off.
$290
Mhm.
last year,
And I had
and
to
she
change
made
it.
us put it in, even though,
So
because that was the number they showed.
that's the number they have. So the income stays with exactly the numbers they tell us. But we can do more holdbacks on our estimated funds report here.
So we need a motion to approve
The tentative.
Tentative budget.
Motion to approve the tentative budget for fiscal year 25-26 that would be given to the state.
Yes,
Correct.
because they have to verify everything and then,
Public comment? I get a second? Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Designation of auditor, auditing firm.
one of the things we have to do at the March meeting is we have to designate that the auditing firm that will be doing the audit for this coming year, for this fiscal year. And we have a contract with Deborah Horan of Silva, Siren, and Associates. This is our last year with them, and we have to do a bid. And so we just have to approve, and I have to send it into the state.
And then after that, we'll put out new,
We'll make that public.
after that, we put out a new request for proposals
Right.
for another
Yes.
3 years.
Another 3 years.
Move to approve, did you already do that?
Go ahead.
Move to
I'll
approve,
second
move to
that.
approve President Auditor
Second.
for this upcoming fiscal year.
Public comment on the auditor?
Can I get you to say Silva, Siren, and Associates?
Who?
Silva, Siren, and Associates?
Thank you, add that, please.
Okay.
Okay, we got a
So
motion.
sure. There you go.
We got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, judicial government affairs 9. Road reports, let's do A first, road operations and maintenance reports, and then we're gonna, if you guys are on board after Sean does his thing, we might mix it up. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, well, we're still having quite a bit of winter, actually, out of the last 3 weeks-ish or so, or maybe no more. Monday, Tuesday were fairly dry, but cold in the morning, but we always had a storm coming, it seemed like, for Wednesday, Thursday. Matter of fact, I've had every Thursday, a lot of the trash trucks are coming, we had them getting stuck. And also, the tow truck that came to get them got stuck. So needless to say, when we're gonna have a storm or it's predicted,
Where was it?
but I don't know exactly
Okay.
yet. Well, one of them was Big Dog. I'm sorry, not Big Dog, Jackrabbit.
Okay.
And then there was another place, I'm just not sure where it was. Anyway, when I'm expecting a storm or we're expecting a storm, it's not conducive to grade crust and try and grade because once the rain hits, it's gonna be even more mushy and not be good. So anyway, as far as, we had the axe handle cattle guard was, pretty bad and broken. We ended up welding a bunch of new stuff in, pothole patching on whiskey and a little bit on ironwood. Let's see, did some ditching and escapes. Also, we've been screening material, getting ready to do the in-house stuff at Ironwood. Oh, the wayside generator, I was listening to it, didn't sound right. Went and pulled the cold air side off for the turbo, checked the turbo, bearing was just about shot. So I ordered a turbo, got it, we're all up and running and ready to go for that one.
A question, how long does it take to mow, demow, and get all that done on a generator? Is that
You know what,
day
a
or
turbo
two
is
or
not a
what?
bad thing. A turbo, it's just a matter of, the biggest thing is waiting for shipping on the parts.
Okay.
That's,
It's not a huge
when I
deal.
called Cat, the the turbo was in Shanghai. So I ended up going another place and it ended up coming in a couple of days. So we got it handled.
Good job.
Ready to go. Plasma cutter that we've been using to cut up our old cattle guards.
Yeah, your good deal plasma cutter, did it take a dump?
The regulator blew off. So I ended up having to wait, got one of those. Amazon is amazing. Got it from there and it's back up and going.
Well, one thing, just real quick, we use the plasma cutter because the blades get a curve in them after using it. And we take those old blades and take a plasma cutter and cut another straight line so we don't have to spend extra dollars buying new blades. We refurbish those blades many times, so we get quite a savings out of the steel. Everything takes time.
Is that cost efficient? That's the thing.
You tell me, you're
I-
the one that's
I
running it.
I
You
switch cutting
figure that
edges
out.
all the time. I switch cutting.
You
edges. I'd
figure
rather
that
pay
out.
for it than to spend time.
You and Sean
You know how
can
much
have
time it
that
takes to
talk.
cut it?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, okay, it probably takes 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And that's a heck of a cost savings of $700-800 for a set.
Yeah. I don't do that. Yeah, I agree. So,
Well,
I've
where are
never
you
cut
getting
it.
your cutting edges? You need to tell me because you're not cutting greater, or you're not, anyway, whatever. Come on.
So anyway,
But that was even on there,
Good point.
cutting the greater.
Yeah, no.
So and I found that instead of having it run into the moldboard, and
Right,
when you
right,
get
yeah.
the high arc in there, you can't, That's the
You
one of
can't
the
get a good
problems.
straight road.
Right.
You can't.
No, I know. I get it.
Leave
I
that,
know. Yep.
so,
No, them old
so we
boys
try
say-
and keep it going. Anyway, it's just what I found works pretty good to save us as a district some money.
I was there when we got the plasma cutter and was watching that. And I was pretty impressed. It looked good.
No, they-
Anyway, as far as, I'd like to just respond. We put a 3% crown. I've had people at this table say they want a 5. Anytime that I put a 5% crown in the road, there's nobody that will drive on this kind of a road. They drive in the center and watch the crown out. And every bit of the E has been, if we haven't done the road or whatever, as far as what roads there are, with the E on them, they tend to stand because it gets mushy on the side. They always ride on the center and squish the crown out. We can't keep a road with a crown. So it's hard to in the winter. Winter, it's definitely tough. If you look around, 99% of our roads all have a crown unless it's an E road that has been bushed, and we haven't gotten to it. As far as cutting an E road, I wait for the storms, and you can't cut it when it's super wet, and you try and wait for a time. Just happened to be that I actually wanted to do from Amy to where I went to on Wilcox, but when I cut Amy again, Amy Short, it was already too hard. And so I chose to just go and try and fix the bumpiest section that I could. And that's all I could do. And I could barely generate enough material as it was to get that road to even be drivable again. So anyway, that's what I tend to try and do is always have a 3 because people will drive on it and water will shower. But anyway, that's all my.
Any other discussion from the board on this item? Public comments? Okay. Moving on. Hey, so this is, talking to Greg when he got here, if the board's okay with it. Greg has somebody who's gonna do some talking on his item. So if you guys are okay, do you mind if we move the new business item? We'll fit it in right here, and then we'll continue on with B and C, but do the new business item real quick, or Greg's item real quick. Cool.
Everybody okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm good with it, yeah.
Okay, go, Greg.
Thank you, everyone. Let's see, I'd like to introduce Greg Aloncio. That's right. No, I can pronounce it. And he's been at Washoe County you're retired from Washoe County, right, Greg? And he's done road condition assessments quite a bit of his life, let's put it that way. I thought I'd bring him here and let you get an idea. I told him 5 to 10 minutes, so we're not trying to make this thing a big, long, drawn-out thing. So one of the things first that I'd like to do is, did everybody understand what I was talking about in the staff report that I wrote? Or is there any questions on that? It started with, we've spent millions of dollars to improve roadways over the last 10 years. Came to my attention that, we added up projects, and this is total cost. This is not just, and I used this one just as a simple example on Ironwood. But over the last 10 years, we've spent about $4.5 million. And it could be draining, cleaning out ditches, it could be patching, it could be the chip seals, everything that we did on that particular road, it added up. And I look at it this way, well, if I'm in the military and I buy a boat, a warship or something, that might cost $500 million. And but to keep it going, I have to put a crew on it. I have to maintain it. I have to do upkeep on it. And I have to yada, yada, yada. So the total cost of that boat isn't just $500 million. It's the total cost over the lifetime of that boat. And I kind of like to look at it that way, like with this road, because and that's why we're trying to do the databases and look into the history so we can develop better understanding of what's going on and make better decisions that are more cost effective. And this is one of these ideas that I'm looking at. Let's say it did cost 4.5 million. And I called up SNC and I got a conservative price. I figured about $1 million a mile, and he came up with being very conservative, about 3.8 million. And on this particular project, we discussed it a little bit. One of the things, just to give you a real simple idea, first you gotta completely grind and fix the existing bays. What we got, we grind up the chip seal. Then you gotta fix the soft spots, because there are some soft spots in that road that need fixing. Then we put 10 inches, about 10 inches of type 2 base on it. Then we put 4 inches of AC, asphalt concrete on it. Then we redo the sides. We got a brand new 20-foot road, 3 miles for 3.8 million. Now, to me, okay, wait a minute, we spent 4.5 on all this stuff for the last 10 years. Had we gone to the debt commission, Washington County Debt Commission, you got to, if you want to spend money and pay it back, you always got to go to the debt commission. And ask them and get their input on, okay, does this make sense? And that's why I want to do this road, this conditioning, where before we go to do a lot of things with the county or get bonds or whatever, we have to have a program that makes sense. So this is all part of this condition assessment. But besides that, we might be able to get favorable interest and those kinds of things where maybe it comes out that it costs us $4 million or a little more to do 3 miles of road, and it lasts for, how long does the road last for like that?
That one will last quite a while. That'll
20
last
years?
Easy. And if
So
you take it-
so
if you
instead
take
of,
it-
hang on, Greg, let me keep my thing going here. So instead of spending 4.5 and chip sealing, because we spent that much already, and we'll probably won't spend that much again, but it just brings to mind that, well, wait a minute, we could do a lot better if maybe we went into debt once in a while, got a road, paid for it, and then not touched it for 20 years, except for the the ceiling and the side areas that you gotta clean, and gutters and all that fun kind of stuff. And the nice thing is, if you did it that way with ironwood, you'd raise it up 14 inches. You get it out of the poor soils and the first water tables that keep coming down that mountain. So it'd last even maybe longer. We've got roads out here that Rocketdyne put in that are, how old? 50 years, 60 years old. We still driving on them, guys. Because the subgrade and everything is put in, and we just patch them up and keep them going. This one doesn't have that. It's just we just went out there and chip sealed it, and it keeps falling apart in my mind. So I'm thinking doing a condition assessment that looks at all the chip seal roads we got, all the dirt roads we got, and coming up with a solution and cost for all of it. And then looking at how we're going to prioritize and implement these, so communities, people here in the community, know and have some idea of what we're going to be doing in the future and the program that we've laid out. Also involved with this is the special plan area where the county used to have impact fees, used to have in their documents that there was going to be a homeowners association that took care of all of the roads within the special plan area. That's obviously, we know, it's going down the drain. So who's going to take care of all those roads when we have that much more traffic on 5-acre parcels versus 40-acre parcels? So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at in terms of how we do our condition assessment, how we lay this out, and how we plan our capital improvements so that we can move forward. It's not a piece of cake, because we don't have a lot of money, but that's where I figured we'd start over. I started this about 3 years ago, and then all hell broke loose, you guys knew. And we went through that fun thing, and now I'm back at it, thinking about, okay, how do we make a better deal for everybody here? That's kind of where I'm at. So, Greg, take it away. How do you do a condition assessment, and what do
So-
you do?
Greg will answer.
And what's it for first?
So, real quick, like I said, 30 years in the county, 5 years with Nichols on road maintenance and stuff. And
Nichols is an engineering firm.
I hate to say this, but I did put in Winnemucca Ranch Road. But that was
That was with Brown
2000, 2000. And I
That's
looked
10
at the
plus
records.
years
They
ago,
haven't
right?
touched that road in 10 years.
Well, they put some seal around
Yeah,
it.
it was 10 years ago. I looked at the maintenance records. So
Okay.
I have them. So, you need better timing on that. I have to get a hold of Steve and talk to him about that one. But what you do is, what you want is a PMS, a pavement management system. It's called PMS. Other reason, but that's what it's called.
Fancy word for another software program.
Then there's another software program. Paver's one of the big, it's called Paver. It was developed by the Corps of Engineers for airports, and they found out it works so well under concrete and asphalt. They use it everywhere. Actually, Paver is used all over the world now. And, City of Reno uses it, Washington County uses it, Sparks uses it.
Probably Las Vegas.
Who knows what they
Who
use.
knows, okay.
So so there's a lot of, the program's excellent. What's nice about the program, they can do really small entities, GIDs. It doesn't matter how small the database is, how many roads you have. And then they can go up to thousands of miles of roads. The computer program can crunch these numbers instantaneously. Doesn't matter how big the program is or how small it is. So it's a PMS program, pavement management system. It will, what we would do to start from the beginning, I'll only give you like 3 scenarios. 3 scenarios. One scenario is if you did this all yourself. You bought the program and then tied it into GIS so you can get shapefiles. You know what shapefiles are. Shapefiles are basically little areas that you can code and build beautiful maps, nice colored maps to do all your different ranges you have here, maybe different code systems.
You're probably a little unfamiliar with that. He was a mapping expert at Washoe County when he was there, so he knew and knows how to deal with all the maps. That's why I wanted him here, because he can easily integrate what we need to be done here with his expertise.
And you can add the GIS maps. And so one of the scenarios is adding the GIS maps, because Paver accepts that data. GIS map and Paver are 2 separate programs, but they talk to each other. One of it is without, one of it's the total kit and caboodle, and another option is for you to do everything yourself.
No, thank you.
You do everything yourself, buy the programs, take the online classes, buy both, take the online classes, set a person to go out and do all the inspections and everything. The initial setup, just to get it set up, would cost you guys about $60,000 initial. And then before we get it, the pavement management system puts out a PCI number for every road. And most of the asphalt, so the PCI number, pavement condition number, is 0 to 100. 100 is excellent, and it just goes all the way down. And most roads around, but you don't want to be is under 40 or 30.
And then you just let them go all the way to 0.
Then you reconstruct.
And then you reconstruct.
You reconstruct anything
There you
after
go.
20.
Right.
So basically, the pavement management system gives you numbers to look at, which you can put onto a really nice map with the GIS. If we come out and do your 19 miles, this is for the 19 miles I'm talking. So the 19 miles,
That's chip seal.
we would come out and you look at everything. What you do is an evaluation. On the asphalt, real quick, the asphalt has like 19 distresses we look at. The dirt roads have 7. So there are, and Paver program is the only one that I know of can do a PC on a dirt road. With the Corps of Engineers, they do cold weather stuff, and so the Corps had them put in dirt roads. So this one will be airports, concrete, runways, paver, streets, roads, dirt, everything. And so you got 7 distresses for your dirt roads, and you got your AC roads we can do, give you a PCI. And then that gives you a range of how you feel for where your roads are. Built into the paver is the budgeting stuff. You tell us how much funding you have. We build up a system, actually a good system there that, what do you want to do with the money? Do you want more chips? Do you want reconstruction? Do you want to, you pick out different scenarios, showing, okay, I want to just do reconstruction on X amount of roads. And we'll, Justin we can get a price from Justin, what the prices are for that construction. Put that money in and we can tell you, boom, how many roads you want to do, boom.
It's a way of forecasting
You
financial
can
issues that need to be done, especially for political bodies, because I want my road done. Well, sorry, there's 800 miles in this city and you get to be in line with everybody that wants a road done. And we're going to base our decisions on doing the road work on the conditions of the roads that are currently meeting. And it's a way of being fair to everybody in the neighborhood. The idea is, wait a minute, we just can't have everybody pushing their way at what they want. There's got to be a way to say, these are the conditions, and these are the priorities, and this is what we need to do. And
Yeah, that's what I did with the Board of County Commissioners all the time is, they wanted the roads done and we decided way long ago, we don't go, this board member and this board member wanted this and this one. We always just told them, you go by the TCI and what roads are coming down, we work on that. So everybody was just fine with that because nobody got favoritism. We just worked on it like that. Before I forget it, if you have a computer, if you want, you can go into City of Sparks and type in condition roads, the new condition roads. Their map will pop up, and you can click on it, and it will show you what the TCI do. That's what the GIS is. It'll show you a really beautiful, colorful map, different colors for different PCIs. City of Sparks has that up there. City Green used to have it. I couldn't log on to it. They might have taken it off for work.
we went through the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
And then we're getting back to, okay, what does this GID actually mean?
But you need,
And does the board of trustees think that it's valuable, or is it something that, okay, Sean drives these roads, he knows the problems, but we've never come to definitive issues that this road somewhere, Peak Road or whatever, is going to get certain improvements done at some point in time. And this is what needs to be done for that particular road to bring it up to snuff. And then what Sean has done is, okay, once we get a road back to the way it should be with the drainage and the condition, the elevation and the like, then he's been putting that type 2 base on it. And then that is used to keep the topping. And it minimizes the amount of grade work that needs to be done. It keeps the road smooth. And it just works better for general improvement district. So that's kind of where I was looking at going with this, figuring out what we need to do, and also looking at maybe putting in an asphalt concrete road once in a while where things will just be permanent and go from there.
there was one thing I just thought of after you other funding prices. If you guys ever can get federal money, one of the regulations to tap into that money is you have to have a PMS system, in the management system. To be able to get any type of federal money, you have to show that you're maintaining your roads, or not maintaining them, but you're keeping.
So it can be used in grant process.
Correct. And that's one of the requirements is to have this. If our company comes out, does the 19 miles, does the inspection, takes it back, the initial is expensive, puts it back to the office, puts it all in, builds everything, that's about $2,000. Let's see, it's, about $2,000 a mile, so we're running about $25,000 for the 19 miles, or $35,000 for the 19 miles. And if I take off the GIS part, the pretty maps and everything, which is nice, then it'll lower it down to $25,000 for us to come out and just do the inspections. without the GIS. But you put in the GIS with all the stuff, because when you can build all sorts of different, somebody asks any different questions about it. You know, what are dirt roads, where, you, just amazing how many different questions you can come
The
up with.
software is complicated if you want to make it complicated.
Yeah, you can make, or you can make it real simple,
What
just,
we want to do.
A, B, and C.
What's the simplest? I see eyes around here, 30,000 is still too high.
yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying, now, if you guys wanted to do it, you have to buy
Is there
software.
a way to simplify it? Can a spreadsheet be developed with an Excel spreadsheet?
You
To
have,
give us what we need to do using the same software?
with the Excel spreadsheet that you have, we can take that and put it into there. But, to get the PCI, you have to send people out into the field.
Right. I can inspect it.
Have to inspect, and we don't inspect 100%. They found out years ago, you don't need 100%. It's 100 feet, you do 100-foot sections, approximately every 500 feet.
Got it.
So you come up with the same PCI number as if you did 100%. And that was proven years ago that it works just fine. So you don't need 100% inspection. You go to every fifth one, and small streets, there's another, you just figure out a percentage, a third. And you can take your database, you can put it into paper, but still you do all the inspections. And that's what I say, the initial start is expensive, because you have to spend a lot of time getting it in, getting the initial inspection in. And after that, you only have to do it every 3 years. That's what the county worked out. I used to do it every 2 years when I first started. I'd have my crews go out and inspect 1,000 miles of road I had. We do it every 2 years. When the budget hit in 2008,
Yeah. I went to 3 years.
we went to 3 years.
Right.
Everybody went to 3 years. Sparks, we all went to 3 years. So 3 years, it would only run you 10,000 every 3 years. Once the system's in, to maintain it, it's about 10,000 every 3 years.
Well, we don't add very many new roads, like maybe
Yeah.
one every 10
And that's
years.
nothing, right?
So we're pretty consistent, and that's why I thought we could put a database together, simplify this as much as possible. And, I was waiting for your boss, you guys to come back with, what can we do for 15 to 20,000? To get something somewhat ironclad that says these roads are, we gotta do these with those.
Yeah,
and
I'm talking
come up
19,
with money,
the 19 miles can be put in with field inspection and initial inspection without the GIS for like 25, present rate. But
That's only the chip seal, I want all the roads.
you want all the, wait, do you want them inspected? That's,
Well, here's the problem.
you don't need to inspect all the roads.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue. Many of the dirt and gravel roads with the GID system exist with few, if any, major improvements to them in the last 50 years. Continuous grading the roads slowly depresses the roadways lower, making roads deficient and keeping drainage off those roads, and shortens the time again to regrade those roads due to degraded subgrade or no adequate subgrade. So there's got to be a way that we start thinking about not just paved roads. We got to start thinking about the people who live out here who live on dirt roads, and deal with that. That's part of the issue. So there you go.
Yeah, it gets really, it can get really expensive. Like the county spends 150,000 a year, a year, because they do 1/3 total
Yeah,
inspection.
but 1/3 of 800 or 900 miles of road is
I
a
know.
whole lot different than 93
Right.
miles of road. I'm trying to get the price down. I'm not going to do
That's
the
what-
city thing.
Yeah, that'll be my boss, and if you wanted the system, he could. But the bottom line is, we'll run right around between $1,200 and $2,000 a mile. The initial setup.
Right.
After that, the price drops, because there's a lot of work we get to do with the database. And the guys have to go out in the field, pick up a lot of information. But it's even cheaper because I know you have a spreadsheet of all the roads, twos and
We
ones.
do, yeah.
That saves a lot of input time. Payroll will suck that right in within 5 seconds. But it's all the other stuff that we have to do. The PCI, the rating, the rating of the roads going out and checking them.
So I'd just like everybody to think about it and give me comments, and
We're here.
I'm here to listen. So I just thought that it was wise to bring this up and think about it. Once we get it in place, it's not gonna cost us a couple $1,000s a year to keep it up, because we're not changing anything. We know dirt roads stay dirt roads, and we did develop that nice, wonderful spreadsheet a long time ago. You guys are excellent at keeping that up with regards to what's done on those roads. And with the abbreviations, it works really well, and you can see what's been done, so somebody can go in and look at that database and go, oh, that road was done then, and they did grading and drainage and
Yeah, this.
whatever
program
on
takes
the
care
thing,
of all
you
that.
know? I'm just trying to improve what we got so we can make smarter decisions to save money. And if we don't, and you don't think it's worth it, yahoo. If you do, great. Then maybe we need to bite the bullet and do a little more expense now, but we don't have any very much expense at all later on. And it's all in a software program that everyone uses for the exact same thing. Nobody else uses paper around here. Whole of northern Nevada is used by that software. And I don't see anything changing in the next 20 years. Unless some AI robot comes out and does it for us.
We're ready for the board discussion?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's why I asked.
What's,
Okay, so here we go. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so, this is a kind of a presentation item, I think,
Yes.
as I understood it. And so it's not gonna, you should not be deliberating about it or having board discussion. If you
I
like,
disagree.
because that
This was done for consideration. The board can consider it as an action item.
We
It
moved
is
it
an
in,
action item, okay.
we moved it in the agenda, but it is listed as an action item.
Okay, I apologize.
No, that's okay.
No, that's fine.
I wanted to get an approval to get 15 or 20K to start this out, see where we go with it, or negotiate with them or something, so that we could get this, come back. The board would have to approve it anyway next month or the next month, so on it goes. That's where I'm at. Presenting it, giving the idea, put something together in writing in terms of what exactly would happen and how much it costs to do this condition assessment and database, and go from there.
Okay, so, any discussion from the board?
I have
Yeah,
a
obviously,
question.
hold on real quick. Obviously, we're not gonna motion on anything tonight,
Right.
as Greg has.
Unless
Some
you
work
decide
to
to let
do.
me spend some money.
I'm not without
Oh,
any bid
come
or
on.
something. Yeah, I gotta see a scope in it.
Yeah, but you know, you can ask for proposals.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
yeah, just bring a proposal. So any board discussion?
I have a question. So the 3.8 million, if we were to finance it, where do we finance it? Through Washoe County?
Yes, there's requirements for any entity within a county. They must go, if you're going to do a bond proposal, to go to the debt commission, it's called. It's not a big deal. I've done it for hundreds of millions of dollars. It's just a big formality, because you got everything put together when you go to there, you know? And so what you do is, normally the county will put a lot of funds together for a bond issue. They just don't do one little bond issue for a GID, and another one for a swimming pool, and another one for something else, unless it's a real, you know, you get into $40-50 million projects, they go out with a separate bond probably. So the county does things that way, and they'll combine it with a bond proposal, and then we would have our certain interest expenses to generate the bonds and sell them and do all that stuff that all normal municipalities do all the time. And it just, you know, I just looked at this and went, well, gosh, if we spend X amount of dollars on a road and we can get something 10 times better for the same price, if we think about managing our money right, maybe that's what we want to do.
What do you think the interest rate is
Well, right now,
approximately?
interest rates for commercials probably up 7 to 10%, but I don't know what bond rates right now. It depends on what the county's cost is for a bond, and that would be something that we would certainly look at in the future if we decide to go in that direction. I can't say what a year from now, what the interest rates are gonna be. Right now, they're high. Go back 5 years and they're dirt cheap. So, yeah, I've gotten bonds for 80, $90 million for less than 3% way back then, you know. So today's world's different.
Yeah. So $3.8 million for 3 miles of paved road. What's the maintenance costs on those in the future? Because we're still gonna have maintenance costs on them.
Oh, great.
Well, you know, you got your snow plowing, that's up to you what you have to do with that. But it would be just a slurry seals, basically. All you'd want is slurries or micros. That, micro is a chip with a slurry, which I like the best, because I use that all up an incline. Because the plows and the blades of an incline.
Would you do that once every 6, 7 years?
Exactly. You got it. We found out regular slurries at the loading time lasted less than 3 years because of the huge chains that these guys have on their machinery.
Right.
And then, so we switched up to a Cape Seal, which is that chip in the micro seal,
Mhm.
single flex. With it.
Anyway, you don't get away with absolutely
Oh.
everything for free, but for a long, long time, your cost pretty minimal. First
It's,
10 years is
Look
minimal
what I
on
can
your
figure
cost.
for you is 25 cents for slurry, 50 cents at today's cost, probably Justin better to zoom in on it, about 50 cents for a micro every, in your case,
Yeah,
you probably go
John
7 to 10
knows all
years.
the costs on that stuff.
Yeah,
He's
7 to 10
in the
years.
middle of that.
You know, if you get 25 cents for slurry, let me know where you're getting it.
Exactly.
Because
Well, I tell you where you're getting it at,
Yeah.
you know where you're getting it at? It's because I had $1 million bond. That's why, I had, what was he charging me?
39 cents per trip. Anyways, any other board discussion? I'm gonna take public comment.
The one question I have is, are there government grants available? I know you need this thing to even
That
apply for.
I know there was at the time when I was working, but we had to grant people there at the county that's all they did. You know,
Yeah.
and for us to get money from the state,
Well, you used the same grant writer, John, when you did that other stuff that one time. Same person, I think.
No, Kathy and I
Well, you got
Yeah.
that? Okay. You did good there.
did. But the program is if you're doing the payment. Probably, you can get grants here all day long. Federal, state, county, without the program, it's not paid. That's what I heard.
Right.
So, okay, public comment.
George Boyce for the record. We're already having enough problems like getting money for the west side over here. And Ironwood, you're gonna spend $4 million, interest on that at even 6%, plus payment that will come due eventually. What you're gonna do is make the rest of the valley suffer so that somebody has a class 1 road for 3 miles. I mean, that don't make sense if you're gonna make the rest of the valley. I noticed that you put in some improvements on the west side, which I'm thankful to you for you guys doing that. But just the west side, you spent almost 300,000 on the west side in 13 years. And now you're talking about a $4 million road improvement?
An answer.
No, we're not gonna answer public comment, but you can talk to us. But
Okay.
let's look at all the public
Yeah,
comment. Sure.
the thing of it is that you have a Class A road, I grant you that. But we don't have the money to do that. I mean, you can't sacrifice the rest of the valley so that somebody on Ironwood has a 3 mile stretch that's like Interstate 80. We're just not that deal. We just can't afford it. I think you need to go back and use the money better to improve some of the roads, which hasn't been touched for years, rather than go spend a deal to get a Class A road like Interstate 80. That don't make sense at all.
Thank you, George. Any other public comment?
I hope. Oh, boy.
Lori Swarzak for the record. I think the idea of having an independent group come in and do an assessment to help you all prioritize which roads are highest on the list and which ones need the most work would be helpful for everybody, because, you know, there's some roads that haven't been attended to. I mean, I've only been out here coming to these meetings for a couple of years, but you all are talking about the same roads every other month. So, but having somebody else come in and give an overview that would be helpful for you on which way you want to spend the money for all of us out here, I think it seems like a reasonable approach. I do have a question about whether or not, given the size of this project, that you need to issue an RFP so that you can get proposals from a number of different entities about what the issues are that the board is considering and how to address them thoroughly.
Any other public comment?
I had a question.
Yeah.
So Angie Phillips for the record. As far as you had mentioned Winnemucca Ranch Road, and I'm just curious if with Ironwood in this project, the scope of it, can that become a county road if we pave it rather than something to look into? Just curious. Just a curiosity
There are
question.
strict, and then you're be just like a developer.
Say your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Greg Blanfield,
There we go.
Washington County engineer, was retired. So we deal with that a lot at the county.
Mhm.
And all you have to do, in short and sweet, is bring it to county standards, and the county takes over any road. County standards, then you're good. There are standards for subdivisions with curb and gutter and stuff, and there are standards for roads out here where you don't need sidewalk and you don't need curb and gutter. But you need to bring it up to county standards, which is usually 6 on 4. And as you just can't bring it up and then go to the county. You have to have the county inspector out there from beginning to end, just to write off that, you know, we brought it. First you get the standards from Dwayne Smith, that Dwayne will do for you. And come to an agreement that, hey, if I do this and have the inspector out here, you will take it over.
So you foot the bill and then they take it over
Correct, but they take the maintenance from there on.
after.
It's forever.
And there's no
That was just
guarantee of
right of them
that.
taking
Any
it.
other discussion? The county's not automatically gonna take every road that's the county standard, I'll tell you that. Just like we're not gonna take every road out here.
Right.
Because
Too.
there's a class too.
Correct.
Anyways, any other board discussion?
Yeah?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, we still got public comment.
Public comment.
Julie Donatelli for the record. I was sitting here when Larry had a dream that the chip asphalt would go all the way to Peyton Avenue. And I liked that dream because I lived that way. But I also know that it costs a lot to repair that chip seal, and plowing it in stuff is rough on that road. However, all of our other roads are not being maintained. So I don't understand why we would want to put a bunch of money into one section when we're not maintaining all of the other roads that we're accountable for. So I would like you guys to please consider that first.
I have an answer for George and you. One of the things you want to think about is if we spend, say it's the numbers we had for the last 10 years was 4.5 million on Ironwood for 10 years. Assuming that we have 10 more years on Ironwood, we'll spend another 4.5 million. So now we're up to $9 million maintaining for 20 years a road we could have built for 3.8 million. In other words, you invest in the capital, you don't have to do any more maintenance on it, and then all the rest of the funds, once it's paid off, you've reduced your debt. Then you've got all that extra money to spend on what needs to be done for the rest of the thing. It needs to be carefully looked at. I know it sounds complicated, but sometimes you have to spend money to save money. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying it's something that we would do, but I think it's something that we should look at because we're trying to make things work out here. And with the special plan area, maybe the county would think about it because they're the one that put us on the hook for all of this. Maybe if we got a couple of roads done, we're up to their standards. They take them over and we're done with it. That, to me, would be a real blessing. And then they're off our books. And I think that might be a good thing.
I did some calculations on this real quick. I'm a paving guy. I've been paving since Helms back in 1976. I'm a road builder. Robert L. Helms.
Yeah.
I just calculated out it's gonna call for 8,000 tons of asphalt, $656,000. Okay? Base is gonna be a fraction of that. You don't need 10 inches of base, 6 inches of base. 3.8 million is astronomical. I have 3 pavers. I pave all the time. When I see numbers like this, I'm just like, are you kidding me? 3 miles, 8,000 tons, you can pave 2,000 tons a day if you got a good paver. Okay, that's 4 days of paving for 3 miles. $3.8 million? Are you serious?
That sounds like a Justin number.
Could you help me with that estimate, please? The 3.8?
No,
Can you help me with
I'm
that
looking
estimate?
at the numbers with the 6 inches of base and the 3 miles.
You say I'm way too high?
Extremely high.
I knew I was conservative, but I didn't think I was that conservative. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, just the asphalt, $82.50. I mean, and you can probably get it cheaper when you're buying volume, just like you do on the E and the type 2 base and everything.
What is it, $100 a ton?
I'm just saying, what's that?
What is the asphalt now, 100?
No, it's $82 a ton.
They dropped it.
Well, if you're getting it from granite, you're paying over $100 a ton.
Right, that's right. I was
But
surprised.
if we get all our material from Titan.
Oh, yes,
Western,
right, yeah.
Western, we have a hot plant right
Oh,
out.
yeah, we got a hot plant.
So it's a short mobilization, very short
Oh,
mobilization.
that's a good price.
Well, that's what I think. That's what everyone pretty much pays out here. Like I said, I'm just going through the numbers. I'm not, I'm just saying that, I come up with 656,000 just for the asphalt. A lot of these roads are stable enough. When you got 6, 8 inches of chips over the last 15 years, you can't tell me that you don't have good stabilization under a lot of it.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
We don't need 6 inches, 10 inches of base down the whole 3 mile road. We don't need it.
So let me ask the board,
In other words, we can trim it and make it work.
so let me ask the board real quick. Okay, and since we're talking numbers, I'm sorry, Greg. Ironwood since 2012 has cost the district 1.2 million. That's it, in 13 years. That's the number, so you guys know. Now, do you guys want to make any motions on this tonight? I'm one guy with a vote, it's up to you.
No, I don't want to.
Then we're moving on to the next item.
We need to look into this a whole lot more.
Okay,
If you guys are fine with that.
we gotta get to
It's just
talk about
west.
fixing roads now.
We got a lot of roads that need to be
Thank
taken.
you for your
I-
And
Where's
I
your
have a
talking? And on the other side,
couple
where
more
you're talking.
questions.
You got a lot of roads. you
Angie,
gotta-
what is
Your numbers are
our,
right on.
what is our
What's that?
road
$82
maintenance for the year?
Yeah.
For
You
like
go
a
to-
year?
You go to Granite.
Like, how much do we have for an average
You
year?
go to the
Just
portable
for
hot
road-
plant.
For road maintenance? I can look.
$139
Is that the 1 point?
Yeah. It's about
Is it this one?
That's what we're
1.12?
estimating. That's what we're saying we can use is the
So,
1.8. And so right now I'm estimating
Okay.
But out of that 1.8.
727
727, all right.
is my estimated for the end of this year.
Yeah.
If you want to arm wrestle them.
I have another question on this. Does the board want a proposal?
Give us a proposal. I mean, we're open to proposals.
So here's some of the numbers. We have between 727,000 and 1.1 million per year to spend on our roads. If we were to do this at 3.8 million, even paying it off in 10 years, that'd be $380,000 per year. That would be half of our budget for all of the roads.
Understand.
I know you understand, I just want to make sure everybody else understands.
But how much would you save by doing that? Julie, that's the issue. It needs to be discussed further.
But that means that in 10 years, we'd have one good road. You're not gonna have the money to do another good road until after that 10 years or so.
May I?
Okay, go ahead, Marshall.
You know, we're looking at, initially, what we have to do is get the road assessment. We have to get the, you know, if we're gonna go in that direction, we need to get the road assessment, we need to get the program, and get that set up. And if we're gonna do that, we can go out to bid. And so I'd like to table this and take it up again next meeting. We can have, another discussion on it and figure out if that's what we want to do. Because, you know, arguing about paving Ironwood right now is silly
It's
because
just people
we
who
gotta,
business next month.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And you, like you said, you guys know, there's other options out there. We've got grindings. if you keep it
And there's
grinding.
one item that I didn't bring up. Sean does an excellent work knowing what we need to do. But sometimes there's not enough time, and we were short people for half a year or more than a year. And that really is, so, you know, there's things that you gotta always work through.
Okay, we gotta move on.
Okay,
We gotta
I'm sorry,
move on.
let's
move
on.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Well, then maybe, you know, I don't need a motion to table, this could be old business next month, right?
Yes, and we went way off course. This was just supposed to be on the adoption of condition assessment, not any projects other than, so we went way too far.
Okay, so if we do it next month, we have proposals, it'll be under old business, or unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
And Greg will let you know if he needs,
I won't be here next month,
so the month
be
after,
May.
if you have something,
Yeah,
you'll tell Rob. Okay, cool.
And if you
Okay.
want to get requests for proposals, let me know and I can send that out.
Okay.
Are we still bored? Still commenting on the outside? Real quick.
If you need to.
Yeah, I'd like to. Have we heard anything from any funding from any of these cell towers up on?
We'll go over that, we'll remember and staff that.
What's that?
We have an
Yeah,
announcement on that,
that's-
we'll get to that. Okay. All right, now we are at.
Pavement rehabilitation.
Pavement rehabilitation, Cape Field 2025 proposed. So just so you guys know, for these next two items, as we go over them, I worked with Sean on both of these. And so I want him free access, not to talk to the public, but to the board as we go over this. So let me go over the pavement rehabilitation proposal real quick. As you guys see, these are our recommendations. Of course, what I'm looking for tonight is to have the board authorize me to work with Robin to put the contract together to advertise for bids, that we would do the end of April and bring back to the board in May with prices, and then the board would approve if you want to do the projects for the allocated bid prices that we bring back. So tonight, we're not looking to spend money. At the end of this, I just want board approval to put a contract together. Now, let me read this real quick. There were some comments at the last meetings concerning how we're doing the projects here. So just for clarification regarding the budgets and timing of road improvement projects. The aggregate surfacing project is an ongoing project that has and will span many years. It is not tied to a specific fiscal year's budget. The other road improvement projects brought before the board in the spring, especially the pavement rehab and any new asphalt surfacing projects, are normally done during the summer months and therefore tend to overlap 2 fiscal years and are not tied to a specific fiscal year's budget. Just for clarification, so people understand. Based on comments we heard from the public over the last few weeks. Okay, the pavement rehab. Our idea is finish the last mile of Ironwood. And in the parentheses, you see the last time that was done is 2022. Redo Amy Road, and this is all chip. Redo Amy Road from Ironwood North to Grants Ranch. Last time that was done is 2022. Whiskey Springs from Pyramid Highway West to Amy intersection, 3 miles there, that was done in 2021. And the cost for, well, and you can see the individual cost for the roads there. And then I've been happy with the contractors' patchwork they've been doing for us in the last few years. So we need to do some patching as well. And on the patching, the big part of the patching is gonna be up past Right-Hand Canyon on Whiskey Springs. I mean, there's gonna be patching on a lot of the paved roads in this proposal. But past Right-Hand Canyon up Whiskey Springs is about 50 tons needed up there. And then the other big bulk of the patching number is gonna be the apron, rangeland and Pyramid Highway. You guys are familiar with that, the small apron when you come off the highway, it's pretty deep up, so. And that's about 40 tons estimate. And so with all those prices, the approximate cost for all of that is roughly $280,000. And you guys see from our operating funds report for road improvement projects, we're about $600,000 through the end of August. Now, we like to think big and go bold. There's two options at the end of this. I think that we should be bidding for one of these two. And I'm gonna explain both of them to you, and then we can have some discussion. So, the 1.57 miles from James Ranch to Whiskey. And I'm gonna throw it on the spot, I mean, it was Sean's idea, but I don't think it's a bad idea, and so we threw it on here for the board to consider. It's a good road, it's got a good foundation, it's flat and straight, and,
This is terrain.
yes. And so the cost, if we just keep that section and continue that loop, you know, the bus route loop, is $140,000. That's one option, on top of the 280. Now, the other option is 2022, it was the last time we did any chip seal on Schrock, Broken Spur, that spa area there. Now, that's a lot cheaper to do that at 61,000. And based on my experience on this board the last 4 years, I want to just clarify that the last additional item on there, other than patching in the spa, this district has paid zero money on that road. It was laid by the builder in 2015, and with grant money, it was improved in 2022. So the GRD has paid nothing to maintain that 1.4 miles. So on this whole thing, I'm curious from you guys, what do you guys want me to bid for? Or if you even want me to bid for you, right? I mean, I think we got fixed paving, right? Okay, like, you guys tell me which one to do.
These are estimates. We haven't gotten, the bids will come in
Yeah,
for this year.
I would tell you from the oil prices though, you probably agree, they're pretty solid.
Yeah, they are. I just
From
want everybody
last
to be
year.
aware of, that's what these numbers come from.
Do we need to do the Cape seal on Whiskey Springs?
Yes, the first 3 miles, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, that includes that area where you get a washover when we get a heavy rain down there,
Yes.
right? Can we get a culvert in there or something? That
There
should
is
help.
culverts there.
Is it really? She's not big enough to handle it, huh?
It's
Wow.
1 in 100 year storm, while for us, it's every 10 maybe. You know,
And so you guys are aware on the Cape and the chip rehab. I took over this working with Johnson in 22, so I've been doing these projects since 22. That year with Johnson, kind of helping, he helped me out in the years after, as well, outside of being a trustee. But what we've tried to do is, because I'm always thinking of the next year and the year after, we've tried to, in a regimented fashion, move through resurfacing our capes throughout the district. Now, on this proposal, I'm good with either of the options personally. But I will say that if you bid out Broken Spur and Sharon at a cheaper cost, I will say this. Next year, really I'm down to the last 2 miles of Whiskey, pretty much. And a little bit of patching. So in doing all of this and the spa, next year you're looking at about 200 grand to hit that. And you're gonna free up about 350 or 400 grand for whatever other projects the board wants next year. This proposal leaves either 200,000 or 250,000, depending on how I did it, for aggregate projects this year. So, any other,
Is there work that needs to be done to the roads prior to the chip or Cape Seal?
just patching,
And what was done on Ironwood and Whiskey? Was that chip seal or was that Cape Seal?
Cape Seal, it's been chipped over the years.
And just to educate me, how do we allow development or no maintenance on the roads, on the smaller parcels off of Broken Spur and, in between Amy and Broken Spur? Was there not any funding from the developer when they developed that to do roads or anything?
Now, the developers did, those were GID accepted roads,
Mhm.
and when those, it's 3 or 4 builders now have been in that area. The developer did lay the Cape in 2015.
So I
Okay.
think call it paved.
Yeah, but there was no money from the developer.
Okay.
That whole special plan area, within the 5 acre, 2.5 acre areas is something that needs to be worked out, with regards to who pays for what at some point. The original was impact fees and a homeowner association and separate roads for the entire special plan area. There's also huge amounts of liability to the GID with regards to once we build roads in that area, the whole thing is a floodplain, it's a 100-year floodplain. When that road goes out at Amy, one of these days is taken out and floods that whole area, which I think will happen depending on the 100-year, 200-year event. Because we haven't come close to that yet. We're gonna see significant issues in terms of maintaining roads and putting roads back together, and who's gonna pay for that and the like. And I don't see that this GID, it's all part of the cost, so if you don't want me to talk about it, I won't.
No, I just think we didn't have the idea. Public comment? No. All right, do you guys want me to bid for something or not? It's up to you.
Well, it doesn't cost us anything.
No.
You get the bids, right?
And what, I mean,
Well, we might want to look at the cost of each of the projects and, figure out what fits.
well, then we'll have to bid for all of them.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if you guys haven't seen our bids in the past, the GID, PDGID reserves the right to take stuff out of the bids that come back. So we can actually say, okay, we're not doing that for that section of the bids. So, all right, we'll write up a proposal with Robin and we'll bring them all and we'll bring it all back to the board in May. And maybe in April, I might have the contract for you guys to see as part of an attachment to that meeting.
I like it.
Okay.
You need to do a more official
Can you do
motion.
it? Can you vote on it?
You need to, yeah,
No.
you need a motion and a second and then,
Just to have it.
just to have it in
Marshall,
record.
will you make a motion to allow me to do that with Robin? To get bids
Okay, I move that you get bids, with Robin
for the pavement rehab?
for the pavement, yeah. Okay.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we the fun stuff. Okay, and I'm just gonna give you guys, when we go over the aggregate projects here, I'm just giving you what I think we should do, but obviously if you guys have a different idea, just spit out. And the first one I'm gonna go over is the in-house projects for the aggregate services. Well, hold on. You didn't have any, so. Let's do this real quick. Actually, no, we're gonna have money left over, so let's do this. Okay, future road improvement projects, you guys got that page? We've had some issues over on Bacon Line North, we've been hearing from the resident, a couple of residents there. And so Sean, I asked him to bring a fix back to the board. And so his fix is, we're gonna put the, pit material over there on that 1 mile to make it less soupy. And, I talked to Sean before the meeting, and so you guys kind of get the gist of this. He kind of put a cost on here, but we already paid him. So
Right.
this is not, I mean, you kind of put like a labor cost for screening and getting the material over there, but,
Mhm.
this
That's
is,
just the material.
yeah, this is just, so those are real numbers, but
It
it's,
doesn't cost.
it's not gonna cost us out of our budget. for
Right.
improvements. Okay. So, but it's a proposal here, so. And then on Quaking Aspen, currently, he's got to put pit material, which I believe former trustee Otto was putting up on Quaking Aspen in that area in 2023. All the way from, for 1.2 miles up there on Sorry. And is that gonna be the end of it? I don't know, but that's what the proposal is for right now,
Mhm.
to keep going past where we approved to O'Hare, to get up to Sorry with this. And so, being this is really no cost, I mean, really, I say we just approve this in-house projects, so Sean has the ability to do those, because we work it in the schedule.
Yeah, I think my concern was your schedule, Sean, is that, look, doable with everything we got going.
Roads have to be done in a certain order, and even to get up to the top, I have to do Laura first. So that'll take some time to get that going, and then the trucking and conducive to weather. I'm trying to figure out weather and what's going on there before the order truck.
Well, my thinking is there's gonna be patching that needs to get done, and all of a sudden you're doing all this.
Patching's gonna be done outside.
You're doing that outside this time?
Oh, no, contractor.
Okay,
We've done our
I
patching.
know, I'm asking you dumb questions because they need to be.
Okay.
Access to Upper Quaker and Nestor is very good.
And sorry, that's where I can still get a semi and dump.
And the tools that we have available, the shorter, stockier stuff, whatever you call that,
A little pup.
the pup will work.
Well, actually, our semi will work. I can, well, at this point in time, I can turn around like I have when I put the material on there before.
Okay? No problem.
So if you guys, I'm gonna make a motion that, even though it's not really a cost, what cost, that these are on, the board is directing the operations manager that these projects are on his list.
Can we add, the culvert extension on Bacon Ride North project
No,
that they asked for? No?
no, you don't need to. We've had plenty of, every time I bring trucks in to put, I've covered that road twice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't ever have a problem with semis coming in or out.
Okay. How many inches of DG are you gonna put down?
I'm not sure yet. I have to look at the road, reassess it and grade it, and then I'll probably just trying to get a layer in that's gonna not, I don't want it to fail really fast and start washboarding, because that's what the road was.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try, I have to figure out the mixture.
Okay.
And you're talking about Bacon Line, you know, the question?
Bacon rind for the culvert, but, how many inches of DG for both of them?
Oh, for both roads?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I got a, should be there. Yeah, I have 1,700 yards and 1,400 yards.
Sorry, I don't know how much a yard is for inches.
You know,
deep.
because when we buy stuff from Tiger, Tiger, it's always by the ton.
Mhm.
And a yard is it's usually depending on the material, base is heavier than DG,
Mhm.
right? Especially our DG, it's fairly light. So I just have to base it. It's probably about, you can estimate maybe 1.5,
1.23
yeah, per ton.
per ton. 1.33 tons per cubic yard.
I'm sorry, yes, exactly.
Um,
Scratch that reverse.
Most of it's a rule of thumb, it's 1.33 to
Thank you. I'll try to remember.
Yeah, so if you calculate it in cubic yards a ton, that's the new.
All right, so, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve these, just put them on the list, that the board's, saying that the operations manager has these projects on his list to get done.
Why,
second.
why can't the operations manager manage it to do it anyway if that's what needs to be done?
Because it's a
Because-
upper, it needs, some of these roads need, are special projects and they need to be.
Well,
For our
we're
resolution.
doing road work on roads that were originally four-wheel drive roads, and we're now improving them to standards that
That's what,
don't meet spec in terms of what they were, because it was always the people were going to pay for their improvements because they were four-wheel drive roads. Now, is that now changed?
yes,
And you're saying that this board ought to pay for that?
the resolution states that anything on level 3 roads in a resolution we passed, I think, is it late 23? Late 24?
Well, I argued against that, I know that.
No, I know.
It was late 23, early 24. We had to reread it again in 24.
Bingo. And so now, that's why I want the board to approve this, because it's kind of follows the language of the resolution.
Mhm.
Because anything over normal grading, which is impossible in some of these roads, like Quake and Aspen up at level, the board has to approve the operations manager using the team and doing this work.
Mhm.
Based on the resolution that this board, the previous board approved.
I can send that
That's
to
why
you,
I'm
Greg.
making the motion.
So we take old roads that don't meet spec and we improve them to meet spec, and the GID pays for it.
They were changed to class 3, level
Yeah.
3 roads.
The only way to change
I've
that
seen
is,
tons of class C roads that haven't got any material put on them yet. In fact, they look like canals. So,
I understand, I'm just saying those were made into level 3 roads, and that's what John's talking about, is putting it
yeah.
on there. That's all.
So we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye,
no,
opposed?
well, I gotta know, you gotta know this one on that one.
That's okay. And we have one nay, but motion carried for these roads. And I'll take public comment, but let me go through the list on the rest of the other projects. So you guys remember, if you don't, some of you guys were here, some of you might have been at the meeting. But I asked Sean like last October to put a list together of aggregate projects, and he defined it and actually added to it, which I appreciate, because there's roads that I wasn't aware of. And so Sean and I, all these projects, the pavement rehab and these aggregate projects, I spent a few hours with Sean at the end of February. We did a drive around and looked at these. And, so looking at the list that he has on the next page for involving material costs and trucking costs. He's got Amy Road to recover. Canal Canyon, 1 and 2 phase, and we drive up there. Grass Valley Road West, which phase 1 and 2, and Rangeland Road from Peak to Winter Market. Now, looking at the $600,000 we have to spend this year, and looking at the numbers, I personally, tonight, I'm ready to approve everything on this list but Cornell. Only because I want to wait until I see the pavement bids. And Cornell might have to be put off to the reset after all this. But I would be willing tonight to approve every other project on this aggregate list. And then wait on Cornell until we know where we're gonna be sitting in August. Or even before August, we might be able to approve Cornell. But that's a lot of work that this guy's gonna have to do to get the trucking,
A lot of trucking.
and all this material. So,
I'll
And what about Amy Road though? Isn't Amy Road one of the ones on your bid that you're gonna be doing?
yeah.
So would it be a
And it needs to be resurfaced with the E before we actually, because it's been pushed down and it's turning into dirt again, as a lot of our roads do. They just start eating up any material we put on them.
And I asked him that too. When we were driving around, I said, why do I gotta cover that if the board wants to cape it? And he said, yeah, we gotta
Okay.
fix it.
Thank you.
Amy has significant drainage issues. Are we gonna do the full length of Amy, or just a portion of it?
I'm afraid that, and you'll be at that meeting. And we can
Next
decide.
month, I won't.
No, we're gonna, the bids will come in May.
So,
We'll be here in May.
I'm just, I gotta ask that question because Amy runs, the water runs perpendicular to the road going down Amy. And I have seen that road just swap itself every time we get a decent thunderstorm or whatever.
Which
And
section are you talking about, Greg?
the middle, I think, somewhere.
That's where the bridge is.
Yeah, somewhere in there, you know more.
That's already paved.
You're
So, and then it
talking
goes
about-
up
Right.
until you get to James Ranch, and then that road doesn't hardly ever see you on. It just, it does. It's on.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So,
And I got another question, but that's another thing.
look, let's take public comment. Public comment on the Abbey project?
So one comment is I live on the top of,
Just say your name. real
oh,
quick.
I'm Julie Benatelli.
Thank you.
I live on the top of Lake Aspen, so thank you for the name. Thanks for supporting the community. There is a stream, however, that is running through Lake Aspen. That probably is gonna have to be taken care of before you put a base or a DG on top of it, or it's just gonna wash away.
We're gonna get to that. I have some things for you here in a minute. Any other public comment on the Abbey? No? Okay. So, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna make a motion then, that we approve the Amy Road recovery projects at 31,000. Grass Valley Road West of Pyramid Highway Project Phase 1 at 31,000. Grass Valley Road West of Pyramid Highway Project Phase 2 at 13,000. And Rangeland Road Project from Peak to Winnemucca at an estimate of 40,000. I'm making that motion.
I'll second.
All in motion
Discussion.
Oh, go ahead, sorry, Dave.
The other part that we did, John, from,
Gray van.
Gray Van,
Level.
the Rebel, this, the one road that we reconstituted with this, the fines that Larry Johnson decided to use is just about gone. It's, the topping is the old aggregate base from the pit now. And so all those rocks are showing through, and you don't show any Class E that's gonna be put on that road.
That
So-
section.
That section, yeah. And I know that there's not enough fines there left now after doing that road a couple of times to make that work. So I would suggest that, another half a mile or so, from,
Rebel to Gray.
Gray Van would improve that immensely,
I
otherwise
have to come up with that figure. and then-
that road won't hold up. That much I'm sure of. And that is a Class 1 road.
Sure.
So I would like to increase that by 2 miles or 1.5 miles. Which if you take the thing, instead of it being 40,000, it'd be 60,000.
And I won't do that only because it's not on the agenda and it's not on the list of what we gave to the board of the public. I don't have a problem doing that, and I don't have a problem asking Sean to get a cost for that. And then when we come back and we're talking about what we have left, I think there'll be money in there to do it, right? Just give it a couple months and we'll put it back. Because he's probably not gonna get to the Rangeland Road project in 2 weeks, so it'll be fine.
Agreed.
So, we'll get it. We'll just re-agendize the aggregate projects, and we'll have yours on there for that request. And we'll have a cost, showing how the cost for it. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Public comment?
Just, I'm not even sure where to throw this in. I've been waiting 6 months since October and September when we talked about Paiute Creek getting done. When is anything gonna get done? I keep getting told that, I'm sorry, Deidre Irwin.
Thank you, Peter.
We graded the first section, and then we were waiting to get the truck that's semi-ready and all that other stuff to get, the other section.
Okay, but we approved that, right? We approved the, that little stretch we talked about. And also all the patching we're doing on the way up the pipe.
Right.
That'll get done.
Should we include that on the two item thing that you had for?
It's already.
Already approved.
Yeah, I think we already did.
Yeah,
that
we're-
last year.
I'm gonna be using, wayside fit material on that.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we got some projects. Now, hold on. So while we're on road improvement projects, that's what we had, Robin write it that way on the agenda. Because we had two residents send ideas in. And I'm just gonna read those real quick, and if the board wants to have discussion on it, it's fine by me. So the first one came from Chris DeRosa, and he listed 6 things, so some of them got to fix the transition from Ironwood onto Amy, or chip seal lines. Number 2, water coming up on roadway between 6475 and 6200 Clayton Aspen Road, near French drain installed or something similar. Number 3, remove brush and willows from each side of the road on Clayton Aspen Road. Number 4, widen the road in some areas on Clayton Aspen to accommodate emergency vehicles and 2 cars wide. Number 5, leave material put down on Clayton Aspen from O'Hara up to Monk Road to cover up the large rocks protruding from the road. We got almost all the way there. We got almost all of that one, so that's a good one. Number 6, install signage on all roads where school buses drop and pick up. So, any comments or?
This, the bus stop or what?
Install signage on all roads where school buses drop and pick up. We have quite a few signs already out there on these projects.
Well,
The
if
schools,
we,
the
if
bus
we
route.
have, if we have a bus stop, we need to make sure that it's usable as a bus stop. If you sign it, you put a sign up there that says it's a bus stop. I'm sure there's specific criteria for what that is. Right now, we have a rural pickup and that's it. So I'm very nervous about
And they're
putting
all-
up signs that we're.
They're all at stop signs.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments on? Okay. Okay, let me read the second one. Okay, this one came from Mr. David Frisch. And he says, I understand that the GID is asking for road improvement input. I've already shared my ideas, but we'll reiterate again. We lived out here for more than 25 years, so I have some idea of what we were facing. The roads are not just a road, some have rocks, some clay, some are a variety of materials, so it's hard to know how to deal with that. But some of the attempts in the past have not worked out very well, and more wasted money. So in my opinion, we do not need to do temporary patchwork, but do them to highway standards. Of course, that will delay the process of making them all up to speed at one time, but long term, that's the most economical way to go. And then he mentions, is there any way to get the county to help with funding beyond what it already does? It actually does nothing. Or we have, or have we considered going to the union training facility out on I-80 and asking them to come? I talked to one of the leaders out there a long time ago. They do work with their students to get their credentials and heavy equipment operations. But they cannot do work for businesses or private residences, only nonprofit organizations or government jobs. They cannot be graded and pay their church access road and parking lot for free. Not sure what their stance is now because that was 30 years ago, just at that. Any comments on this?
May I go back to the previous one from Chris DeRosa? He said that you need a French drain or something like that about the waterway, and that's what Ms. Donatelli was talking about. Is that something that we're gonna be able to do? Put a culvert or do something with the drainage on Quaking Aspen?
Need to look at it and find out.
Yeah, we'll take a look. And if we gotta put something in, we will.
Last time it was just a matter of moving rocks that were damming it up.
Usually, some of those bogs in this area, the only way to do it is raise the road. And then put a culvert in
Any other,
That's a whole nother scenario.
That's right.
any other comments on the resident ideas?
Are you okay if I contact Mr. Frisch and talk to him about these, or would we use somebody like this to practice on our roads?
I appreciate you offering, Julie, because I don't want to do it, so please do.
Okay, will do.
I was I was in the operating and the training facility is people that come in with teaching them in a 4-year program, and you get you guys that are 2-4 years. but
Good luck.
It's a shame. It's a good
It's
luck.
rough.
You guys have kids. I mean, yeah, they're doing, they're doing good.
They're learning.
They're learning, but
Yeah.
do you want them to learn?
Just ask Sean.
I don't think we can afford free work where they're learning.
All right, okay.
Not,
I'm getting more out.
You're doing good.
Number 7, unfinished business, none. Correspondence, Rocky?
Correspondence, we received the attorney's bill. It was reasonable and good. We received a deadline reminder from Kelly Grammon on the budget and performer projections and designation of the auditing firm. We've handled all of those. Nevada PERS sent a letter stating that the audit is closed. All recommended corrections have been received. So we are done with the audit.
Perfect. Okay. Calendar.
On the calendar, we needed to agendize the final budget for May. And we'll do the bid, and then if we need to get the public work number and that type of thing, that'll be,
So you got that,
got that.
okay, and I'll be contacting you to work on that.
Yeah.
With my script,
Yes,
okay.
that I've learned to read.
Yeah. So, board member and staff items, and Marshall's got a couple of things to just mention. And I forgot to alert you guys that, there was some papers from the revision of the board handbook concerning, budget and finance stuff in the board handbook that Kathy has revised. And
Maybe
she-
the 4 or 5 documents we received.
Yes.
Mhm.
Those are excellent.
Yeah, so they're in the agenda packet, and they're gonna be part of the whole revision, but I think she felt it was appropriate because we were talking about the budget tonight for you guys to
Those
see.
are the
what's in it.
salient points on what we do. And if anybody has a chance to read those, it doesn't take long. It's about a 5-minute read. They're
Cool,
worth looking at.
and then Marshall, good.
There's a project that is just in the very beginning stages. It looks like we're gonna get, election people are gonna try and get approval for 390 homes on 2.5 acre lots.
Ooh,
It's actually 2.5 acres of 5 acres because they're gonna do a 2.5 acre set aside. It's really interesting when you read it, but it's gonna go in this fall. And so, we're keeping a real sharp eye on it because that's gonna affect, the GID. It'll also give us a whole lot more tax money, so,
Where's that located?
It's in the high density, it's gotta be in the high
it's
density.
in the high density area. It's up near, part of it's on the east side of, the east side of Whiskey Springs, and the other part is over on the other side, but they're all up close to Pyramid.
It was already approved years ago, right?
Oh, yes, yeah, but it wasn't approved for 2.5 acres. I mean, there's a whole bunch of weird stuff they're doing, and
That was gonna be sewer, that whole
yeah, there's,
1,400
They
units,
needed sewer and water.
sewer and water.
So Marshall is,
So we got 390 wells.
so Marshall
Yeah.
saw that and he's watching that. So as updates come on that might affect the GID, Marshall will bring that to us, and if we need to agendize something in the future on that, we will.
yeah, and as far as the trying to squeeze some money out of the folks that use microwave, I don't have anything to report this month, but I should be here and back, and so I suspect next month I'll have something.
For quick and estimate.
Mhm.
We're talking quick and
Yeah,
estimate.
that's
that's
the road that goes to Quick and Nest.
Right.
And
So-
then you turn
Microwave
on-
road.
Microwave
Up
road.
off that.
Right.
So you guys are aware, I asked Marshall if he would look into that, and he graciously said he would. and I gave him the information I had. I don't know if you have seen.
I have a box that's stuffed with stuff, and I gotta find it, and you're gonna help me.
So Marshall is gonna take that on for us, and if he makes any headway or gets some movement on that, then we'll agendize that, and hopefully, Marshall will be the GID vessel.
Well, I don't know that we're gonna get a whole lot of money from that, but if we get, I mean, anything we can bring in to help.
Put a gate across it, put a walk it, and say, hey, there you go, you wanna use this road, kick in.
Put a little,
I think there's
I'll
some
man
other
the toll booth.
dubious ways
I was
we
gonna
can
say
do
that
it too, so
toll
let's not close this off.
walk it out.
Any other board member and staff?
Board member items. Make a note for August or whenever for Rangeland.
Okay,
I had some other ideas.
and that's from Rebel Cause to Gray Van.
Yeah. Anybody else got any ideas?
No, I just, real quick, I wanted to talk to Julie before the meeting. And I would just appreciate from the trustees that, and Greg, I know he knows this. If you guys want and gals want agenda items, bear with me. The first 6 months of the year at the GID is a hell show. And we got a lot of stuff we do, a lot of stuff. And usually by the middle of summer, the project's winded down, all our important budget stuff, employee review, all that stuff has settled down, and we're usually a little lighter in the second half of the year. And so I don't want you guys thinking I'm trying to be mean, because I'm actually a pretty nice guy. So if you can wait, carte blanche in the fall. You guys can talk to your heart's content, think of what you want. If you have ideas or something, we'll put it all on there when we get there, and we get through all this first half of year nonsense. If you do that, I appreciate it. And that's all I got on this side. You guys good? Public comment on matters, go ahead, Craig.
No, I was thinking, and Marcia, you brought up, we need to get ahead of what we need to go to the county with regards to the special plan area. If we're gonna chip seal roads in the special plan area, and just because we're chip sealing roads there, then we should chip seal roads everywhere, because everybody lives on a road. But just because you have a higher density traffic in a certain area, then they get chip sealed and nobody else does. So I'm kind of curious about how we're gonna deal with the special plan area and all the density that's gonna go in there. And the county was supposed to take it all over, deal with it, and fund it, and make it work. And they're putting it all back on our back, and that's a cost to us that we should recoup from the county. So how we do it is something that needs to be looked at.
No agenda, is that in the fall?
That's good.
Okay.
A lot of these projects.
Public comment on matters not listed on the agenda.
I just wanted to make, I'm Julie Donato.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make a comment about the bus stop sign. The reason is that in the morning time when it's dark, there are teenagers down on Ironwood Road standing on the side of the road. Somebody's gonna get hit. So if we could have some sort of sign to alert people to slow down, because there's children there. Same thing in the afternoon when they get dropped off. I think that it would help making sure that we keep everybody safe, especially when it gets dark so late or so early, depending on the time changes. It is dangerous.
That makes good sense. But I have a question about that. Let me follow up. Do we need a separate bus stop area because it's just Amy and what? Amy and,
Bus stops have stop signs, nothing like that.
I'm gonna take care of both of you
Thank you.
once we get through public comment, trust
okay,
me.
all right.
George Boyce, for the record. But what I'm kind of curious is that they are proposing a couple hundred homes in an area. Why isn't the board going to the county saying one of the conditions of them building the homes there is they bring the road up to county standards to the housing project and give it to the county.
George, this hasn't even gone through, they're not even, they're in the very first step of finding out that you get over one hurdle, which is septics. Okay, so they haven't even applied for anything else. They have to go through that whole process. As it goes on, I'll let you guys know what's cooking.
Well, I think though, before they get too far down the road, I think this board should put their 2 cents in to the county and say, hey,
That's
You
what I was,
approved
that's
this
what I was
project.
talking about. And that's exactly
we
what I
need
was
to
talking
take and have this road brought up to,
When the time comes, believe me, we'll be down there, and that's exactly what we're gonna be doing.
yeah,
So-
because that's not a few houses.
No.
I mean, if they're talking that many, and it's not that far of a deal where you're talking about them being, they should be bringing that road up to whatever the county standards is and give it to the county.
Now, that's a question for our lawyer. I think we need to ask our lawyer what we can do to create requirements for our roads in special plan areas. That's something that needs to be answered then.
And I think,
A lot of it
and
required.
we'll take care of that when that's agendized in the fall, because that project's way down the road. And you can't put conditions on until you get.
So that would be in the future,
Yeah.
Robin.
And
Thank
then, Robin,
I've got it listed for the fall.
in the fall, and also, so don't forget, in the fall.
For now?
The board discuss bus stops,
Okay, best
and
time.
if we want to put signage on. And I'm not putting things way on the back corner, but it's a public entity, everything moves slow, very slow. All right. I'm ready to adjourn if you guys are.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Adjourned at 7:50. Hey, 7:45.
Is that the farm?
Huh?